Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Diabesity Planet. This is day three, the end of day three of an estimated 30-day fast, and things are going well. Continuing to go on strong. My weight's come down. I'm down to 198.2 pounds. So again, I started with about 206, and so I'm down about 8 pounds now within 3 days. And my waist circumference has stayed the same at about 102 centimeters. So that's in terms of going over the biometrics. In terms of how the fast is going in general, I feel great. I was able to get all the things I needed to do today. Able to ride my bike wherever I needed to go. I was able to play basketball for 2 hours straight. So that was good. It's nice to be active. I don't feel tired. I don't feel hungry. Um, I did have some minor sort of episodes of lightheadedness, especially maybe once or twice today whenever I was trying to stand up from a sitting position. Um, but definitely uh, made sure that I would make sure, I guess, sort of walk it off, or just make sure I was cognizant of it to make sure I didn't like black out or anything like that. So yeah, overall it's going really well, going really strong. It's really nice to be able to converse with more people about it now that more of my friends and family and viewers see what I'm up to, see what I'm doing, and just sort of going over and just sparking up conversation about the issues surrounding obesity, diabetes, etc. In terms of the small tidbit for today, I was hoping to go over another big myth today, which I alluded to at the end of yesterday's video. And if you haven't seen yesterday's video, please do take a look, because I busted another huge myth yesterday with regards to putting you in starvation mode, and putting you at risk for gaining weight after the fact. So today I'm going to talk about a huge myth, and something maybe a lot of you might be concerned about if you wanted to start fasting for yourself, is what happens to your muscles and your muscle mass when you begin to fast and stop eating foods. So the common myth, the common understanding is that um, if you stopped eating food, your body would start to instantly start breaking down your muscle, and to use that as a fuel source and as an energy source. And this, of course, is horrible. This would be horrible because you don't want to lose your muscle mass, because your muscle mass gives you strength, gives you the ability to move, increases your basal metabolic rate so you can burn off more energy and avoid weight gain and obesity. So if that was the case, then that might be self-defeating for the whole purpose of the fast. And luckily, this isn't the case. So muscle mass, in fact, studies have shown, are actually preserved during episodes of fasting, whether that's intermittent or continuous. And the caveat is the only time muscle mass becomes an issue or a concern is if somebody's body fat percentage goes below 4%. So obviously, your body is trained to use the sources of energy that it has, which is sugar or fat, and then use muscle as a last resort. And I'm just going to go over 3 reasons today, and also mention a few research studies of why this is the case and why muscle is actually preserved when you're fasting. So first of all, a very basic concept is looking at purpose. So what's the purpose of muscle in the body? The purpose of muscle is not to store energy. In fact, the purpose of muscle is to use energy and to expend energy. So if you think about sort of how our body does deal with storage, the first area of storage is is our liver, and sugar is sort of readily available in the form of glycogen in the liver, and that usually is good for our energy expenditure for about 24 to 48 hours without eating. So first your body turns to um, your glycogen source, and this is after you're not eating. So obviously if you're eating, first your body goes for the food that's ingested and uses that for its bodily functions and stores the rest. After that's gone, you have your liver glycogen as well as some sugar as well in the muscle as well that's used, but that's gone within 24 to 48 hours. So if you're fasting beyond 48 hours, you've got no food intake, your glycogen stores would have been completed. So what would your body go to next? Do you think it would go after muscle, or would you think it would go after fat? So if you think about the purpose of the two of these, it's kind of intuitive that your body should go for the fat to burn off, to use as energy, and not muscle, because muscle is meant for a different purpose. So that's number one. Number two, the reason that muscle mass is preserved when you're fasting is, again, going back to hormones, because hormones essentially regulate what happens in your body. So in terms of hormone-wise, when you start to fast, insulin secretion decreases, right? And this is the key to defeating weight loss and diabetes, is lowering your insulin secretion. So what happens when your insulin level lowers, there's another hormone that's sort of suppressed by insulin, and that's growth hormone. And growth hormone is a very crucial hormone that's involved, as its name implies, in growth and muscle development and muscle mass preservation, among many other things. So by fasting, we're also increasing our growth hormone, and growth hormone is what helps to maintain and build muscle, and has many other properties like anti-aging and sort of restorative processes in the body, things like that. So that prevents against protein and muscle wastage or loss, and it preserves it. The third reason that muscle mass is preserved, or I guess the third point to consider when you're thinking about muscle mass preservation, is that muscle is not, again, outside of the exception of if you're in a starvation, if someone who's starving, and that means a body fat percentage of less than 4%. Beyond that, muscle, diet won't really affect your muscle. So if you were to chug down a bunch of protein in a milkshake, without exercising or doing any muscle resistance, your body is not going to suddenly just start producing muscle because there's more protein on board, right? It's like having someone drop off box loads of bricks in front of your house. It doesn't mean you're going to go and build a house with it. It just means you have all this extra bricks there that you're probably going to have to get rid of, unless you have something to signal you or force you to build a house with it. And that's what exercise does. So if you're interested in muscle mass preservation, then that has to do more with exercise, not your diet. So as I mentioned again, you're eating excessive protein in your diet won't increase your protein, and fasting and not having any intake won't decrease your muscle mass unless you go below 4% of your body fat percentage. And in fact, a lot of athletes use intermittent fasting and the benefits of the growth hormone, etc., to help shred their fat and also build more muscle, because whenever they're fasting, they have more growth hormone on board, and that helps with their muscle development. So those are the three reasons why muscle mass is preserved, and I hope that helps answer the question. If there's anything that needs to be clarified further, please feel free to message below. Now, in terms of some research studies, most research studies have shown that muscle mass has been prevented, and one example of this was a study done by Bhutani in an article titled "Improvements in Coronary Heart Disease Risk Indicators by Alternate Day Fasting." And I'll put the link for this article as well in the comment section. But essentially, it showed that there is no loss of fat-free mass during 70 days of alternate day fasting in patients. So, so that's sort of a little bit of background about that and the theory. Now tomorrow, I want to talk about another common myth, which is about safety. So, is it safe to fast? Am I putting my body in jeopardy by fasting? Is there certain, what exactly does the body need to function? What do you need to eat? Because I think a lot of people are under the misconception that if you don't eat, you're essentially killing yourself or harming yourself. And again, that's not true. Unless again, an exception where you're starving below a body fat percentage of 4%, then that's a different case. But for the average person who doesn't have any other medical health conditions that would prevent absorption or doesn't have already pre-existing deficiency, in general, we'll be talking about what you need as a human being to function. What's the bare minimum, and is it safe to fast? So thanks again for listening. I wish everybody all the best if they choose to fast. All the best with your fasting, and please subscribe to the channel. Help spread the word even more, and let's help get out some positive information to really make a difference and find all the misinformation regarding diet, nutrition, obesity, and diabetes. So see you all tomorrow, and looking forward to it. Take care.